So
Yeah,
that,
we can start.
okay, you're live now, so attendees can start, they're logging on now.
Okay. Let me get my act together real quick, and we will get this going. 1 second. All right. All right. Is everybody ready? All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to March 23rd, 2021 City Council meeting. This meeting is being recorded by audio and video in accordance with the state open meeting law, consistent with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning gatherings of more than 10 people. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the city council during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or a device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications or the public hearing to request to speak. I will repeat that several times during the meeting for everyone. So if you forgot, you'll be able to, I will remind you. So this evening, in no particular order, from my top right to my bottom, my top left to my bottom right, we have myself, Councillor LeBlanc, we have Councillor Gilman, we have Councillor Nolan, Councillor Holmgren, Councillor Pett. Let's see here, and looks like we're missing a couple city councilors. Councillor Cox had reached out earlier this evening and said she's going to be a few minutes late, as well as Councillor Memhard. I will announce when they're on the call, and we're also waiting for Councillor O'Hara. So that being said, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is oral communications.
All right. So under oral communications, the public shall have every opportunity at scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communications shall allow any resident who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, state their problem without debate, and the matter shall be referred to the proper agency through the office of the mayor. The resident will be notified within 2 weeks period relative to disposition of same, and a copy shall be forwarded to the city council. Persons speaking under oral communication shall be limited to 3 minutes each, and the council president shall not allow complaints as to individual performance. So before we get into oral communications, I just want to make an announcement real quick. So I had reached out to the Attorney General's office last week and had a really good conversation with Sarah Monahan. And the Attorney General's office, the number is 617-727-2200 for everybody's information. And the conversation that I had with Sarah was that about an ordinance that we have before us that is in subcommittee, and it is being discussed at the subcommittee, and it's being brought to us every single week under oral communications. So I was advised that it is the discretion of the chair on whether we want to listen to these oral communications of matters that are before us at subcommittee. And I had reached out to a couple of other city councilors individually and asked how they felt moving forward with this. And I think we came to an agreement that we are not going to hear anything about the gun range under oral communications because it is before us at ordinance administration. So anybody here this evening that wants to speak under oral communications for the firing range or the Haskell Pond gun range or whatever everybody's calling it, you will get your chance at a public hearing when that is scheduled. So we will not be listening to any gun range oral communications this evening. And once again, I reached out to the Attorney General's office. Her name is Sarah Monahan, 617-727-2200 for anybody's information that would like to follow up with that. So that being said, is there anybody that would like to speak under oral communications this evening? If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9, and if you are on a device or a computer, there is a raise hand button. So let's see here. Joanne, can you make me a co-host, please, so I can bring these people in? And Councilor O'Hara has joined us. Welcome, Councilor. All right.
You're all set.
Thank you. So we have Ann. Ann, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can we have your name and address for the record, please?
Ann Stevens, 10 Winter Haven Road, Gloucester.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I would just like to lodge a complaint that I thought it was unfair and I don't see how it was legal to move public comments, oral communications at the last meeting to the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Normally we don't debate on this, but I can give you the answer.
But
So this is,
excuse me, sir. That's the other thing. This is
Ann-
supposed to be a
Ann-
time when there's no debate, but yet you also
I'm not
sometimes
debating it.
answer people.
Ann, I'm not debating it. I'm going to give you the explanation. You asked for it and you said it was illegal, and it's not illegal. We can suspend our rules of procedure, which we did, and we took a vote on. And that's why we're able to do this. We can do that at any time of the meeting, suspend our rules. So you asked a question, I gave you an answer.
I didn't ask a question, sir. I said I thought it was unfair and I didn't see how it was legal, but I did hear that you all suspended the rules for the night. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak under oral communications? So for the record, what we did was 100% legal. The Attorney General's office number, once again, 617-727-220. If you'd like to file a complaint, feel free to do so. Is there anybody else that would like to speak under oral communications? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is the presentation from Angel Donahue Rodriguez, MBTA Deputy Chief of Staff, regarding presentation on the MBTA drawbridge project.
All right, thank you. All right, Angel, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mr. President?
Doing very well, thank you. So thank you guys for being here this evening. I'm sure you're going to have a couple of questions from the City Council. You know, seeing that we drive down the rotary, the highway every day, we can see what's going on over there. So it's exciting to have this done. And we're looking forward to completion and getting back to normal with the trains and the drawbridge and everything else. So with that being said, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. And to the public, I have with us today Brad Nickel, who's been an integral part of the project. And I'd just like to thank the staff over Regina Villa and the rest of our team at the MBTA. It's not just one individual. It really does take a team. I just want to say I'm very thankful for the work that they've done so far in the project to try and hear the concerns of the community and to be responsive as we can be. And we're very happy to be here today to provide the project overview. It will keep the presentation short so that we can move on to questions after. Mr. President, so as you can see here, just as a very quick summary of the previous drawbridge, as you can see here, and then a rendering of what the new bridge will eventually look like. As you can see, the diversion is, compared to other diversions that we've done, is relatively smaller, but we have made some adjustments based on some feedback that we've gotten from other members of the community, particularly the West Gloucester neighborhood in that area. Next slide, please. As we've said before, the diversion is still ongoing and it has been relatively successful. And we've made some changes, again, as I said earlier, around some suggestions from folks in the West Gloucester community. We are continuing the full diversion on weekdays and weekends through at least summer 2021 on at least one track. So right now, ridership is still really low at the MBTA, particularly in the commuter rail, and we expect that to continue on the commuter rail for at least the next several years. Right now, we're at about 12% of pre-pandemic levels of ridership on the commuter rail, and in particular this line. Real quick note on the diversion. Right now, because of the diversion, we expect that customers and riders should expect about additional 10 to 20 minutes overall to their trip times. And this is what we've been putting out everywhere throughout the system regarding the diversion, this flyer. Next slide, please. This is the diversion route. As I said, we've made some modifications where we're stopping trains at a different station in order to expand the diversion, so we can minimize some of the train noise that we've heard loud and clear issues from the delegation, from folks in the city and folks in the West Gloucester community. Next slide, please. Ridership levels, this gets a little bit more specific. But again, prior to COVID, we had about 92 ons at Rockport and 149 ons and 2 offs at the Gloucester station. And we loaded about 5,500 passengers at North Station. And then the outbound peak time, we had 4 ons and 172 offs, and then 101 offs at North Station. And again, about 5,200 passengers at North Station. So right now, in this peak time, that peak time that I mentioned, which used to be between approximately 3 and 7 o'clock at night, we're seeing about 4 to 5% of that normal ridership during that peak time. And our schedule, our new schedule, which is on our website, you can find it at mbta.com, reflects some of the changes that we've made to our schedule on that. So we've moved to more of a clock face service, where, for example, if a train gets there at 11:30 in the morning, the next train you can expect to get there at 12:30. So we're hoping that this is going to allow for more predictability around the schedule that we previously had seen. We have not done this type of schedule before, and so we're really excited about this, and I think it'll be a huge draw for a lot of our riders going forward. Next slide, please. And just some of our normal parking options. There's no parking issues that have been popped up, and our alternative stations around the line, our Beverly and Salem's, provide really good options for folks. And there's plenty of parking on this line as well. Next slide, please. One of the things to be responsive to some of the concerns that some members of the council, the mayor, and the delegation had raised is how we're communicating to the public around the project. So since the last time we've provided an update to the council, which was in September of 2020, we've done a couple of things. So the first one is we have our website that you can check out for regular updates on the project, mbta.com/GloucesterDraw. And we've created in there, you can send us emails on the Gloucester Drawbridge at mbta.com, where we actively monitor it. And we've received approximately 20 project-related emails since December of 2020, and we've responded in a timely manner to all of those concerns. In addition to that, we've we're doing a monthly newsletter and advisory, which currently has about 117 subscribers. And we would encourage folks, if there are any questions that we can't answer tonight, to send those questions over to the Gloucester Draw at mbta.com. We've provided frac sheets, and again, we're going to be having a public meeting next week, March 30th at 6 p.m. online, and we've been advertising that. In addition to that, we've instituted a bi-weekly briefing with the delegation and the mayor's office, keeping them updated on any evolving issues or any concerns that have popped up from the neighborhood, so we can be responsive. Again, that kind of summarizes and I hope answers a lot of the concerns around communications and being responsive to the neighborhood that you guys had as members of the council, the delegation, and the mayor's office. Next slide, please. And then next, I'm going to turn it over to Brad to talk a little bit about some of the construction progress, and then we'll leave it. We'll end there, and we'll do some questions. Brad.
Thank you, Angel. Good evening, folks. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Brad Nickel. I'm the Deputy Chief of Bridges and Structures at MBTA for Capital Delivery. I oversee all of our design and construction of bridges from the capital perspective. Just want to say this is one of our most challenging and complex projects, but we've made a lot of progress. Since the last time we came out to talk to you, I want to say it was around fall of last year. Since the suspension of train service, there's been a lot of ability for unencumbered access for us to get out there and advance the construction. Current slide that you're seeing is just the kind of a graphic of one of the last things we did is we were working on the demolition of the existing timber trestle out there. You can see some of our infrastructure out there, a lot of heavy civil construction going on in the area and working away safely. Thank you. Next slide, please. One of the items that we've really been attacking this winter and into this spring was the installation of some of the new drilled shafts and foundation elements out on the site. This is in-water work. It's been very difficult. I want to thank, the city of Gloucester and the harbor master has been very cooperative. It's been very cooperative and collaborative with them in the U.S. Coast Guard to be able to get us out there and do some of this work and working with us with the, there is sensitivity to the marine community out there. So just wanted to thank them on this. We've seen a lot of production on a lot of these foundation elements. So basically what we're doing right now is we're trying to get out of the water. So this spring we can start really constructing the bridge proper. Next slide, please. This is just a update on the east side. The abutment has been completely demolished. These are some of our new approach slabs and abutment. You're looking out kind of, if you were looking kind of to the west, our new control house is being built out, and we have a lot of the construction staging out there where a lot of heavy equipment and cranes have been working from. This is one of the other elements that was completed, and what we're hoping this spring that, we'll be able to start building out our superstructure, approach spans, and our drawbridge span. Next slide. Just wanted to give kind of an update on where we are for, on a higher level. Project schedule return to service. We understand that, this is something that our goal is to get train service back onto the drawbridge to complete the line. I know this has been an inconvenience. We're tracking right now, potentially late summer of 2021. That just to be clear, just so everyone understands, there's two drawbridges that we're putting in. They're kind of shown side to side here. They're both single leaf, we call bascule bridges. So what our goal is to get one barrel or one leaf operational, and then safely test it, make sure everything is ready to go, and then move forward to try to get train service on that. Due to the complexities that we have out there, lots of risks, lots of things going on with this job, but we are tracking to hopefully have this up, have train service back late summer 2021. Second track in the completion of the project will follow on. So we'll have trains back on it. They'll flip over and start really constructing the north side in Barrel. And that will hopefully be completed in 2022, potentially summer, fall for substantial completion of that. So that would be the construction completion. Next slide. I believe at this point, that's the end of our presentation. Angel, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Brad. And with that, that concludes our presentation. And we hope that this was informative, and we're happy to take any questions from members of the council.
All right. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Brad. Any council questions? Councilor Holmgren.
I don't have any questions. I do want to say thank you to Angel and Brad for your flexibility and willingness to work with the neighborhood and with Senator Tarr. I know this has been very challenging, especially right now. So I really, really appreciate it. Your outreach to the mayor's office. I just can't thank you enough.
Appreciate that, Councilor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Any other councilor questions? Councilor Nolan.
Again, to echo Councilor Holmgren, it's been a complicated process with the neighbors throughout West Gloucester and the noise. There's been some tense moments. We've gotten there, and I want to thank them for the help. And it looks as though the actually MBTA is doing a lot of work on the line with the bridge closed. So kudos to you guys for preempting and rebuilding the line from Rockport to the bridge at that same time and taking advantage of the downtime to do upkeep. And thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Sean. Any other council questions? All right, seeing none. So Angel, Brad, thanks again for being here tonight and your team.
Mr. President?
Oh, yes. Oh, Barry, you there? Sorry, Barry.
Yeah, I've been trying to follow on the phone here.
I get
I'm
you.
not sure what the connection was. I wanted to thank them all for their work. I do keep on dropping off on the presentation, so I'm hoping that they're going to be able to send that to us so I can take a look at it in the morning. And I'd like to thank them again, as Councilor Nolan just said, for all the work they've been doing. And I know it's been keeping Jody busy for quite a long time here, so I wanted to thank them all for their work and working with Senator Tarr, to keep this moving in as stable as it can be for the whole community.
Thank you, Barry. All right. So Angel, Brad, I'm just going to announce your whole team because I know you guys spoke mainly this evening, but there's a lot of moving parts. So Angel, Brad Nickel, Jody Ray, Peter Gagnon, Adam,
Camoon.
Camoon. All right. John Smith, Katie Zazara, Nancy Farrell, and Kyle Olson. Thank you, everyone, this evening for participating. We appreciate your updates. And if you guys can send the slides and anything else to the city clerk's office, we'd appreciate that. So that way we can have everything on file. Also, we also have the mayor. Mayor Taken, would you like to say anything before we jump off with the MBTA people?
I just want to let everyone know, first of all, thank you for the presentation. Looking forward, Barry, they're going to do another presentation on the 30th for the public. We'll make sure we get that out. We'll publish it, and then all the ward councilors can let their wards know, especially around the train areas. I'm sure there's a lot of questions they'd like to come and watch. So first of all, like I said, I was joking around earlier with Angel. He's my right hand. I always send him things, even though I know it's Brad, and we know that, Kate and everyone else, but I just wanted to thank Angel because it's just A for Angel. So, but it's great to have that kind of relationship, and that's what we need. We need the teamwork because it is frustrating. We hear from all the constituents, and we hear what's going on, and and sometimes you're not there, and so we are your eyes and we are your ears, and they let us know. So, working together really helps. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
So I'm going to miss the old bridge a little bit, believe it or not. It had some sentimental value to me when I was growing up. I don't know if I told you the story, but I grew up in the neighborhood. And when we were kids, when the bridge was up, we would be on the island side, and we would run and jump off at high tide into the channel. And then I know I can't get anybody in trouble because this was 40 years ago. The bridge attendant would let us climb the bridge and jump off the backside of the bridge into the channel too. So those are some fun times back in the day when we used to be able to do everything without getting in trouble. So I had a little sentimental value with that thing. And, I hate to see it go, but I'm looking forward to something very modern, something very safe for the boaters and the transit people. So once again, thank you to your team. You guys have done an excellent job. And if we have any other councilor questions, I'm sure we'll reach out via email. So thank you to the MBTA team, and we're looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye,
Thank
folks.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. All right. And before we go for the next order of business, we have Councilor Cox with us and Councilor Memhard logging on. The only person we're missing is Councilor McCarthy. But also in attendance, we have our mayor, Mayor Taken. We have our CAO, Nicole Keyser. We have our CAO assistant, Christopher Sicarenza. We have our police chief, Ed Conley. We have our harbor master, TJ Shimataro. We have our community development director, Jill Cahill. We have our city auditor, Kenny Costa. And we have our CFO, John Dunn. All right, did I miss anybody? I don't think we did. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
Next order of business is the consent agenda.
Are there any counselors that would like to pull anything off the consent agenda? All right, Counselor Gilman. Anybody else? Seeing none. Counselor Gilman.
Thank you, Counselor. I would like to pull off RZ 2021-002, amend GZO Section 5.24, accessory in-law dwelling units and associated definition in Section 6, definitions in accordance with GZO Section 1.11.2A.
Okay. Would you like to explain?
So given that notice of all abutters in the city is impracticable, I move to waive the notice to abutters under GZO Section 1.11.4B, that the council is asked to amend the zoning ordinance accordingly to set the public hearing for that matter as May 11th, 2021, and to refer this matter to the Planning and Development Standing Committee and the Planning Board. And I so move.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved by Counselor Gilman, seconded by Counselor Holmgren. Any other discussion, Counselor? So basically, the waiving of the notice to abutters is just financially, and it's not feasible. There's so many people. Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. I will call for the roll. Counselor O'Hara.
Yes.
Counselor Pat.
Yes.
Counselor Cox.
Yes.
Counselor Gilman.
Yes.
Counselor Holmgren.
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc. Yes. Counselor Memhard
Yes.
and Counselor Nolan.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. All right, so back to the consent agenda as amended. I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Counselor Cox, seconded by Counselor Gilman. All right, I'll call for the roll. Counselor O'Hara,
Yes.
Counselor Pat,
Yes.
Counselor Cox,
Yes.
Counselor Gilman,
Yes.
Counselor Holmgren,
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc, yes. Counselor Memhard,
Yes.
and Counselor Nolan.
Yes.
Motion passes to accept the consent agenda as amended, passes on a roll call vote with 8 in favor, 1 absent. We have a unanimous consent agenda this evening also, counselors. Is there anybody that would like to pull any items off the unanimous consent agenda? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
accept the unanimous consent agenda. It's been moved by Counselor Cox,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Gilman. All right, I'll call for the roll call. Counselor O'Hara,
Yes.
Counselor Pat,
Yes.
Counselor Cox,
Yes.
Counselor Gilman,
Yes.
Counselor Holmgren,
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc, yes. Counselor Memhard,
Yes.
and Counselor Nolan.
Yes.
Motion to accept the unanimous consent agenda passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is the committee report of the Budget and Finance meeting of March 18, 2021.
All right, Counselor Cox.
I present a consent agenda. If anybody would like to remove anything off of it, please do so now. Seeing none, I move the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, consent to the Budget and Finance consent agenda has been moved by Counselor Cox, seconded by Counselor Memhard. Any other discussion, Counselor Cox?
Nope, just bringing in more grants, and we have a public hearing for another or to do another grant tonight for the loan order. Community development, DPW, everybody's knocking them out of the park.
All right, awesome. All right, any other discussion, counselors? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll. Counselor O'Hara,
Yes.
Counselor Pat,
Yes.
Counselor Cox,
Yes.
Counselor Gilman,
Yes.
Counselor Holmgren,
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc, yes. Counselor Memhard,
Yes.
and Counselor Nolan.
Yes.
Motion to accept the Budget and Finance unanimous consent agenda passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Next order of business is the committee report of the ordinance and administration meeting of March 15, 2020.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Nolan.
On a motion, the administration, the ordinance administration committee voted by roll call 3 in favor, 0 opposed to recommend the city council request that the state legislators file a home rule petition, and based on said petition, the general court approve and enact a special act substantially as followed. Section 1, notwithstanding any general or special law to the contrary, the city of Gloucester may, upon approval by the city council and mayor, raise any parking fine established pursuant to section 20A and a half of chapter 90 of the general laws, providing, however, that a fine established for other than parking violations pursuant to said section 20A and a half of said chapter 90 shall, if paid not more than 21 days after the issuance of the fine, but not more than 150. 2, if paid more than 21 days after the issuance of the fine, but before the parking clerk reports to the register, or provided for under section 20A and a half of said chapter 90, not be more than 100 in section. And 3, if paid more than 21 days after the issuance of the fine and after the parking clerk has reported, shall not be more than $175. And I so move.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved by Councilor Nolan, seconded by Councilor O'Hara. Councilor Nolan, any discussion on this?
So this goes back to where we were looking at the parking situation during the summer. The $75 beach fine was working. There was questions of maybe it should be more. And basically, to hit the nail on the head, we're just asking the state ahead of time to leave it up to the council and to the city to be able to move fines as much as 150 if they feel they need to be. So it's not saying that a fine is going to be 150. It's just giving us a leeway to look into the future, to saying instead of looking into this and asking every time something has to go above 75, that we have the leeway as a council and the city to make the fine for what we find worth pending the penalty.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor. So I agree with this evening. I think it's a proactive approach to the state legislators rather than petitioning every time we want to increase a fine that we reach out to them. So this will raise it up enough that we'll have the ability to increase fines without having to, poke at them every couple of years. Because it seems since I've been on the council, I think we may have petitioned the state legislators maybe 3, maybe 4 times to increase these fines. So I am going to support this evening. All right, any other councilor discussion? Councilor Gilman.
Thank you, Counselor. Yes, I too am going to support this. I always think it's good practice, which we did recently, to look at best practices in the market or in our businesses and our other municipalities. And I think that as long as we always look at those numbers and we have this leeway of the home rule petition, if this is accepted, then I think it puts us in a good position to make sure that, we're not being excessive, we're being consistent with what other oceanfront communities are doing for things like parking illegally in the beach zone. And we made that good decision 2 years ago when we filed for a home rule petition on that. We got it up to 75, and that certainly has been helpful. But there might need to be more movement on that in the future, and we have that opportunity by doing this. So I appreciate Councilor Nolan taking this forward and considering it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll call. Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pat.
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor Memhard.
Yes, thank you for this good preemptive work.
And Councilor Nolan.
Yes.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. So before we move on to our next thing, I just want to give kudos to Councilor Nolan, Councilor Gilman, Councilor McCarthy, and our chief, Ed Conley, for going above and beyond this. I know they put in a lot of extra time to take a look at the fines and the fees, and you know, in our city clerk Joanne and her office of going back and looking at the certificate of votes of when we did these things. It was a lot of extra work, and I just wanted to give kudos where kudos is due. So you guys did an excellent job. Thank you guys for stepping up for this. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is the committee report of the Planning and Development meeting of March 17, 2021.
Thank you. Councilor Gilman.
I have two motions on matters that are considered essential in our role on P&D for special events. On a motion by Council Holgram, seconded by Council Pett, the Planning and Development Committee voted by roll call, 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council permit the Cape Ann Farmers Market to be held on Thursdays from June 3rd, 2021 through October 14th, 2021 during the hours of 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. with the following conditions. Council, should we waive this or should I read it? It's going to take us as long to do a roll call to waive it. Should I just read
Yeah,
it?
may as well, just to put it on the record, we may as well read it.
Okay, thank you. Number 1, Harbor Loop to be closed to two-way traffic beginning at the Coast Guard Station driveway, continuing past the Maritime Heritage Center to end across from the Captain Carlos parking lot. The market will be set up on one side of the road as to have one-way traffic. 2, a certificate of insurance naming the City of Gloucester as certificate holder is to be on file with the city clerk's office no later than May 24th, 2021, or in lieu of a certificate of insurance, a letter from the city's chief administrative officer stating that the city is responsible for the insurance. 3, applicant is to notify all abutters of the closed area of Harbor Loop in advance of the events. 4, applicant is responsible for providing adequate trash in a recyclable receptacles for vendors. 5, due to the current situation, all vendors, except those excluded by state law, are to obtain city vending permits from the office of the city clerk 10 days prior to the start of the event. 6, that the Cape Ann Farmers Market must have 2 or more farmers primarily selling products grown, produced, or raised by farmers present in order to constitute a farmers market in keeping with the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources policy for mass farmers markets and with the definition of the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11. 7, Harbor Loop will be one-way traffic only from 12:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. for setup and breakdown. 8, approval is based on the status of the current situation and is subject to change based on any stay-at-home orders, public park or beach closures, etc., is made by the state or the city, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Gilman, seconded by Councilor Holmgren. Is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none. I pray to the powers that be that we were able to go to the farmer's market this year. Come on. So hopefully enough of us get our shots and we'll be able to mingle outside within social distancing. So I'm going to support this evening. Councilor Cox.
Joanne, can you let the council know how it is this year with getting the vendor IDs and stuff like that? I know in the past your office has had numerous problems with that. So I think it's going to be important for you to report back to the council after the season if there's any problems or, you know, how to handle the vendor payments.
Okay, so what we did implemented last year and the year before was that the event organizers, the Cape Ann Farmers Market, is responsible for collecting all the vendor permits for approval and the fees. And once they're signed off by the Chief of Police Conley, they come to my office. They can be dropped off. We can either make an appointment this year or they can be dropped off in the drop box with a payment, and then we will process them and then notify the event organizer to pick them up for their vendors.
Okay.
And if there's any issue, we usually contact the event organizer. It all depends on the vendor, whether it's a food vendor or whether they're going to have crafts. And then after, we just go to the appropriate department for enforcement.
Okay, so who is checking the vendor IDs then?
Usually what happens is that when we have events, the Board of Health, Brian Newman, will go down and check. The building inspector's office will go down and check for the setup, and also will check for IDs. And then they will report back to me, especially the building inspector's office, when we've had events, that vendors do not have their ID on them or they do not have a permit. And what they'll do is they'll probably give them a warning and tell them to come up to the city clerk's office and make an appointment to have their permit.
That kind of defeats the point where the permit holder is then getting everything to you, so you don't have to do this on a one-by-one basis.
I know.
So,
But we haven't, in the past couple of years before pre-COVID, we've only had 1 or 2 issues with that. But for the farmer's market, it's pretty well organized that we haven't had any problems.
okay. I know from our overall vendor talks that it's been rather difficult.
Yeah.
Because there's no one size fits all for any of these events. And this just happens to be the first group type event that we have before us this year. So, all right. They're usually pretty well run and everything. So I just want to make sure that you guys are not scrambling in your office to manage these things.
No, and also to the reason that SEAC approved the farmers markets, because they're considered essential. Right now, the Special Events Advisory Committee has not taken in any more special events applications. And we will consider when we will do that on our April 1st meeting.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Cox, for clarification, and same with our city clerk, Joanne Sinos. All right, any other discussion on this motion? All right, seeing none, motion's been made by Councilor Gilman, seconded by Councilor Holmgren. I will call for the roll call. Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes, and Councilor Memhard. Scott, you there?
Yes.
All right, and Councilor Nolan.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor and 1 absent. Val, before we head to the next motion, I just want to announce that Councilor Pat is having internet problems. So he is on the line with his computer observing the meeting, but he is on the phone for the communication part. Because at the beginning of our meeting, we have a little startup and Barry, Councilor Pat, you couldn't understand a word that was coming from his laptop. So if you see Councilor Pat on his phone while he's on his computer, that is the reason why. So I just wanted to clarify that for the audience and the people watching. All right, Councilor Gilman, next motion, please.
Thank you, Counselor. On a motion by Counselor Holmgren, seconded by Counselor Pat, the Planning and Development Committee voted by roll call, 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the City Council permit the Magnolia Community Farmers Market to be held on Sundays from June 6, 2021 through October 10th, 2021, during the hours of 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with the following conditions. 1, Lexington Ave is to be closed from Norman Street to Flume Road with appropriate signage posted at either end of Lexington Avenue advising motorists of alternative routes. 2, a certificate of insurance naming the City of Gloucester as certificate holder is to be on file with the City Clerk's office no later than May 27, 2021, or in lieu of a certificate of insurance, a letter from the city's chief administrative officer stating that the city is responsible for the insurance. 3, applicant is to notify all abutters of the closed area of Lexington Avenue in advance of the events. 4, applicant is responsible for providing adequate trash receptacles and for removal of same. 5, Due to the current situation, all vendors, except those excluded by state law, are to obtain city vending permits from the office of the city clerk 10 days prior to the start of the event. 6, that the Magnolia Farmers Market must have 2 or more farmers primarily selling products grown, produced, or raised by farmers present in order to constitute a farmers market, in keeping with the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources policy for mass farmers markets and with a definition of the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11. 7, Lexington Avenue will be closed at 8:30 a.m. for event setup and reopen at 2 p.m. 8, approval is based on the status of the current situation and is subject to change based on any stay-at-home orders, public park or beach closures, etc., as made by the state or the city, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Gilman, seconded by Councilor Holmgren. Any other discussion, Councilor? Go ahead, Councilor Gilman.
In our P&D meeting, Council Holgram was given great accolades about how well she supported the this past year's farmers markets in light of COVID, and they did it virtually, but she was always right there supporting it. And there was a shout out from Alana Horn, who's one of the heads of this, and I just wanted to acknowledge that one of our counselors who lives in that ward was right there supporting her constituents, our constituents. So thank you, Counselor.
As was Councilor Nolan made known his support.
And Counselor Cox too. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Great
Okay,
job.
I didn't
Great
mean
job.
to leave anybody out. So thank you all.
Great job, Councilors. for
Slippery slope.
supporting. Yeah. Great job to everyone. All right. So we have a motion. Any other discussion? All right. Seeing none, I will call for the roll. Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes,
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
and Councilor Nolan.
Absolutely.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. All right, great job, everyone. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
The next order of business is the first scheduled public hearing 2021-006, loan order 2021-001, loan authorization request in the amount of $600,000 for ADA compliant streetscapes improvements.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. I will open up the public hearing and ask if there was anybody that would like to speak in favor. I see our Community Development Director, Jill.
Yes, I would, as
All right, our CFO, John.
financial officer. Thank you, counselors.
There you go.
So Community Development Director Jill Cahill and DPW Director Mike Hale are requesting funding in the amount of $600,000 for street, sidewalk, and curbing improvements in various downtown areas, and also up the rise in and around City Hall, the library, and the Cape Ann Museum. Specifically, the improvements will involve the installation of ADA compliant wheelchair ramps, crosswalks, and pedestrian walkways, including, as necessary, signage and signals to provide safe access. We expect funding from a shared communities grant, from a shared streets grant in the amount of approximately $275,000 to support the total expenditure. We essentially are leveraging the grant on a 50-50 basis to cover a much wider area of the downtown for both residents and visitors. I thank you for listening to my stuff and would like to introduce Ms. Cahill if you want to make further comments.
Always a pleasure, John. Thank you. Jill.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to the counselors, and thank you, John. John pretty much summed it up, but I'll just add a little flavor to the story about it. So this is the Shared Streets Grant, one of the many economic development tools that the state rolled out this winter. and we're thrilled to be a recipient of. We were able to, in this case, this is a DOT grant, so it was really focused on infrastructure from the DOT perspective. And from the economic development perspective, it needs to promote connectivity and mobility and safe access in the downtown area. So we connected with Mike. He had recently done an ADA accessibility study of the downtown area. So we had the plan in place, and you know that one of the priorities of the mayor set up for me in my position early on was take a plan and put it into action, find a way to implement it. So thrilled to see that he had this plan in place. We connected it with this funding, and what we'll be doing is we selected kind of the in worst shape ADA ramps on Main Street in different locations, all the way up to as far as Washington Street. And I think there's 8 total and in that area. And then we really wanted to focus on connecting the parking on Rogers Street to Main Street. I think we've all had many discussions about connecting those 2 areas, the harbor all the way up to Main Street. So we're focusing on Parsons Street. Many of you know it as the alleyway with the fishnet. We're going to resurface that. It's in pretty rough shape. So we're going to resurface that and highlight it. We're not in design phase yet, but either with texture or color so that it becomes much more noticeable for folks to and feel more confident and safe walking down that. We will be looking into lighting, but it didn't fit into this grant. And then at the bottom on Rogers Street, we're going to update that crosswalk. So at the end of Parsons, it leads right to the I-4C2, which is a temporary parking lot, and the top of the Harbor Walk. So that crosswalk will be updated, and we'll have 2 what they call rectangular rapid flashing beacons. I think you probably see it. Normally you see one of them up at by Gorton's. And I think also over on Cherry Street by the Cherry and Poplar. So we had a public engagement session on this grant back in February, had some really positive feedback. Was really happy with the turnout. Councilor Cox was there and received a lot of positive feedback. And at that time, a lot of the questions were, will you do more? Can the city do more of these ramps? Obviously, we all know when you walk through downtown, there's endless work to do. So we went back to Mike and John said, I'm happy to leverage money. And so Mike pointed out some of the improvements connecting the city hall area to the library and on the other side to the museum. So we're really, and if the goal being the connecting all the way from the harbor, you can come straight up Parsons, enjoy Rogers Street, enjoy the harbor, enjoy Main Street, come straight up, you're at the museum, you're really in our civic district with the library and city hall. So it's one of the many tools we're going to use. I think you all heard from Sal DiStefano today about our local rapid recovery planning grant also. So this will complement that, which kicks off this Thursday morning at 9. So we're thrilled. We're excited about this project. It is on a very tight timeline. The work related to the grant, so the Main Street pieces, have to be completed by May 31st.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. All right. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor? All right. So I'm just going to announce one more time. If you are calling in on a telephone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a device or a computer or laptop, whatever you guys watch it on, there's a raise hand button to ask to speak. This is a public hearing, so we will be public participation. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor? All right, seeing none. Is there anybody that would like to speak in opposition? Press *9 if you're calling in, and raise hand button if you're watching on a device. All right, in favor, in opposition, seeing none. Madam Clerk, are there any communications?
There are none.
Are there any councilor questions? Okay, seeing none. All right, I will close the public hearing and ask for the committee report. Councilor Cox.
I would like to point out that Jill Cahill also frequented the farmer's market a lot, and I always saw her Jeep with the back of it full. So thank you, Jill. So let's see. Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend the City Council approve the following loan authorization as follows. Ordered that the City of Gloucester appropriate $600,000 to pay costs associated with various street improvements projects, including but not limited to improvements to streets, curbing, sidewalk, pedestrian walkways, and signage and signaling, whether for ADA compliance or any other requirement, including costs incidental or related thereto. And I so move.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Any discussion? Councilor Holmgren?
Sorry.
I appreciate all the work that's been done to make these necessary updates.
All right, anybody else? Okay. So I'm going to support this evening. I think the Parsons Street one is really good. For those of you that don't know where Parsons Street is it's in between the old CVS building and the old Larson Shoe building, right smack dab in the middle, and it kind of brings people up into the downtown area. It's not a street, so to speak. It's not a throughway, but it is blocked off at the Main Street sign, so it is very pedestrian friendly. So I think that's a really good idea to bring people in through the downtown area. So I will be supporting this evening. All right, anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll call. Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes, Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
and Councilor Nolan.
Yes.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Counselor,
Councilor Cox.
I'd like to ask for a reconsideration vote, please.
All right. You want to
Second.
All right.
Moved.
It's been moved by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. All right, so we understand the reconsideration. If you want to change your vote, you vote yes. If you want to keep your vote, you vote no, just to clarify. All right, so motion to reconsider, Councilor O'Hara,
No.
Councilor Pat,
No.
Councilor Cox,
No.
Councilor Gilman,
No.
Councilor Holmgren,
No.
Councilor LeBlanc, no, Councilor Memhard,
No.
and Councilor Nolan.
No.
Motion to reconsider fails on a roll call vote of 0 in favor, 8 opposed, 1 absent. All right, good job, councilors. Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is public hearing 2021-007 to amend the Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Section 10-51, Regulations of Moorings, subsection E, fees.
All right, so I will open the public hearing and ask if there is anybody that would like to speak in favor. All right, I see our Harbor Master, TJ Shimataro. Welcome.
Good evening. Thanks, Mr. President. Good evening, councilors, mayor, administration. We came before you a few years ago when I came on board and looked at a bunch of fees and structures that the Chapter 10 waterways had pertaining to moorings, float permits, launch usage, so on and so forth. It's kind of been an ever evolving situation, and we're almost to the finish line here. As most of you are aware that are on this call, thanks to the administration and the community development and the building committee team, we just finished a harbor master and visiting boating center down on Harbor Loop. Please come and visit when you can. It's a really nice facility, and hopefully we can have an official opening at some point once COVID allows. With that being said, we're always, myself and the Waterways Board are always looking at revenues and expenditures and where we can improve services. So that's the theme, is improving services. So we took a look at the transient mooring fees, and I took a look around the Commonwealth to comparable ports such as Plymouth and Scituate and Salem and Newburyport. Those are very comparable areas as far as transient boating and traffic. Took a look at the services that they were offering in those areas as far as launch or showers or what their amenities were, and compared them to our rates. So we decided that a $10 increase a night for the extended services of now having a shower facility and a Wi-Fi lounge for visiting transient boaters, encompassed with the launch service that is complimentary if you stay on one of our moorings. We felt that we're still way below the average in the Commonwealth. I wouldn't say way below, but we are definitely below. There's no other port that offers both all the amenities that we're offering for our price point, which we felt was important to keep a lower price point, but we also, have to pay the bills. So it's a small increase. It's $10 per night. And I think if anyone's been down there and seen the program that we're running in the summertime, as far as transient boating and also local mariners using our facilities and residents, it's a really nice compliment to the city and to the waterfront. So if any, that's pretty much what I got.
Okay. Thank you, TJ. Is anybody else that would like to speak in favor? If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9. If you are watching on a device, laptop, computer, iPad, whatever you're watching it on, there is a raise hand button to speak. This is a public hearing and there is public participation during this part. Anybody in favor? Anybody in opposition? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, are there any communications?
There are none.
Do we have any councilor questions? All right, I don't have so much of a question, but what TJ said earlier about being comparable to Situate and all these other seaside towns, I don't think there's anybody that is near us. We are above and beyond with your leadership getting in here. So great job.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Big
All
team
right.
effort from everybody. So
Exactly.
we're looking forward to a busy summer. I think that people are going to be very surprised how quick it's upon us here. I was out on the river the other day pushing a dock around, taking advantage of a tide, and there was already people launching their boats at the boat ramp. So everybody get ready.
Everybody's itching to get outside.
Yeah, get ready.
All right. Any other councilor questions? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for the committee report. Councilor Cox.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend the City Council amend GCO Chapter 10, Section 10-51, Regulation of Mooring, subsection E as follows. Fees. The fee for each type of mooring shall be established by the City Council. Fees for personal moorings shall be charged by the length of the vessel at the rate of $8 per foot for city residents and taxpayers, and at the rate of $10 per foot for non-residents. The fee for transient moorings shall be $200 each. A daily fee of $50 shall be charged every vessel that utilizes a municipal mooring used for transient boats operated by the harbor master. The daily rental fee for transient boats shall include the services of the Gloucester launch during regular service hours. Fees for 10A float permits shall be in the amount of $1 per square foot, up to a maximum of $400. Fees for the use of the Gloucester launch shall be $5 per person per one-way trip, with children 12 years of age or younger free. A seasonal pass for permitted mooring holders within the boundaries of the Gloucester Harbor launch with a limit of 4 people will be $100, and I so move.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Any other discussion, councilors? Councilor Cox?
I think for what we have invested in the building, this is a very minimal increase. The fact that we got so much money in grants to upgrade our facility is a testament to those who wrote the grant application. So thank you for that. And the fact that we were able to get so many grants and are only raising at $10, I think is huge. So, I mean, it's more than a $10 service increase. So, but because of the fact that we got grants, I think it's smart to do small increments.
So I agree with Councilor Cox. So I'm going to support this evening. I'll tell you a quick little story. A few years ago, I have a couple of my buddies that are captains by trade. And what I mean by captains is they captain pleasure boats, not just a fishing boat or a charter boat. They captain yachts for wealthy people. One of my buddies reached out to me a few years ago. This is before TJ was on board, and reached out to me and asked how to make our harbor more friendly. And what I was told is that the moorings are messed up, the fees are messed up. There's no place to park a large vessel. There are no anemones. There's no, he went down the list and touched on everything that TJ has kind of fixed up over the past few years that the very short time that he's been with us. They would drive by Gloucester. There's a lot of money that drives by in these yachts. People come in. We have the marinas, the Rose Marina that comes in and they fix these boats.
I'm
these boats are
actually
coming in
just about to sign off.
spending a
I'm
ton
gonna
of
get rid
money.
of this.
Mute John. People were coming in and not spending money here because we were not transient friendly. Gloucester's been discovered, as the mayor will tell you. This is the price of doing business. And as you heard us earlier this evening, raising the fees on parking. Once again, Gloucester's been discovered. People are going to come in and spend their time here. So we want to make sure this is the price of doing business. So $10 is the minimal fee, and I will support this 100%. And kudos to TJ and the administration and the council for all helping each other get to where we're at today. So great job, TJ.
Thank you.
Councilor Nolan.
Yeah, I too want to thank the Harbor Master's Office, all their work, Joe Cahill, the administration, everybody that was involved with the grants. And I do believe the same as Councilor Cox. We received a lot of money in grants, and I'm happy that we're not hammering people, but there is a service being given, and we do need to be responsible for what we have to offer. So I too will be sponsoring this, supporting this.
Great. Councilor Pat.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I also would like to thank TJ and his office for all their hard work, and Jill and the rest of the administration for their hard work. And hopefully we'll be able to get this word spread out far and wide, through Discover Gloucester, through the chamber, everyone else, to get more of these transient boaters to come in. They're not only going to help pay for those services that are available, they're going to be going to restaurants, they're going to shop at stores. Maybe they'll get to go with the president and jump off the train bridge. Who knows? But whatever it is, I want to thank everyone for their efforts, and hopefully we'll see the fruits of those efforts as early as this summer as things start to loosen up.
Thank you, Barry. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, motion's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. I will call for the roll call. Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pat.
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc. Yes. Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
And Councilor Nolan.
Yes.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. All right, great job to the Budget and Finance, and great job to the Harbor Master's Office.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You too. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
Next order of business is public hearing 2021-008 to amend the Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 8, Human Rights Commission, Section 2-497, establish terms and composition.
All right. So I will open the public hearing and ask if there is anybody that would like to speak in favor. Okay. All right, we have Hannah, can you hear me? Hannah?
Yes, I
There we
can.
go. Perfect. Can we have your name and address for the record, please?
Sure, it's Hannah Kimberly. It's 15 South Kilby Street.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sure, I just want to thank you all so much for answering our call to increase the numbers on the Human Rights Commission. So we're seeking new applicants to increase diversity on the commission, which obviously is important as our city consists of various cultural, racial, and ethnic groups. We can learn from one another, but I think first we have to have a level of understanding about one another. And diversity is going to make us all more open-minded. Goodness, in our schools, at work, and certainly in our community here in Gloucester. So we just appreciate you taking this into consideration.
All right. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to leave you on here just in case. So once again, I'm going to restate, if you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9. And if you're watching on a device or a computer, you can raise your hand to request to speak. All right. So John, can you hear me, John?
I can, yes.
Yes. Name and address for the record, please.
John Saroof, 5 Sunset Road in Gloucester, Mass.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the council for taking this up. I'm part of a volunteer group called the Gloucester Racial Justice Team. We've had members attending all of the Human Rights Commission. We love what the Human Rights Commission is doing, and the fact that the mayor and the council have decided to make this a priority in our city. We're grateful to you and to the administration for doing that. We saw this as an opportunity to include more of the voices of some of the community members that Hannah was just talking about, a greater sense of diversity, so that the commission has some of the perspectives within the commission of some of the people that most need the commission's work. So we're grateful to all of you for thinking about that and bringing this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right. If you would like to speak in favor, please raise your hand. All right. If you'd like to speak in opposition, you can press *9, or there is a raise hand button to be recognized to speak. Anybody in opposition? Once again, anybody in favor or anybody in opposition? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, do we have any communications?
There are none.
All right. Do we have any councilor questions? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and call for the committee report. Councilor Nolan.
On a motion by the Ordinance Administration Committee, voted by roll call, 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the City Council amend the Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 5, Boards and Commissions, Councils and Committees, Division 8, Human Rights Commission, Section 2-497, establish terms, compensation, subsection A as follows. There shall be in the city a commission known as a Gloucester Human Rights Commission, hereinafter called the Commission, which shall consist of 9 members appointed by the mayor and approved by the City Council. To serve without compensation, the Commission may have in addition 1 alternate member appointed by the mayor and approved by the City Council, and 1 ex officio member selected by the majority vote of the commissioners. And I so move.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Councilor Nolan, seconded by Councilor Gilman. Any discussion? Councilor Holmgren.
Hannah and John put it very eloquently as to the reason why I put this order forward. I want to thank City Attorney Chip Payson for helping me draft it. And I want to thank you all in advance for hopefully supporting this. I feel it is necessary and a very easy way to be more inclusive and considerate of different populations within our city.
Thank you, John. Councilor Nolan.
I'm not always a fan of larger committees. I think that 9 usually are enough to get the point across, but for inclusionary purposes and to make sure that the Human Rights Commission, which is already off to a great start, is adequately staffed with enough people of diversity to obtain the ultimate goal of people being people and everybody included. So this is a no-brainer, and I will be supporting this tonight.
Thank you, Sean. Counselor, anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll call vote. Counselor O'Hara,
Yes.
Counselor Pat,
Yes.
Counselor Cox,
Yes.
Counselor Gilman,
Yes.
Counselor Holmgren,
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc, yes, Counselor Memhard,
Yes, and thank you, Jen.
and Counselor Nolan.
Yes, thank you, Jen.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. All right, great
Thank you
job.
all.
Great job,
Thank you.
everyone. Madam Clerk, we have next order of business, please.
Next order of business is Counselor's request to the mayor.
All right, so in no particular order, I'll start off with Counselor, I'll just go through the roll call. Counselor O'Hara.
Thank you. I'm all set.
All right, Counselor Pat,
All set, thank you.
Counselor Cox.
All set. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna jump over to Val, Counselor Holmgren.
All set. Thank you. I hope everybody has a good night.
Thank you. Counselor Memhard.
All set. Happy March.
You too, Scott, thank you. Counselor Nolan.
All set with questions. God bless to Ann Margaret, and hopefully a speedy recovery.
Yes, here you are. I appreciate that. And back to Counselor Gilman.
Thank you. I wish I could say that I don't have anything to add, but sorry. I just have two brief things. First of all, I just want to piggyback on a conversation that Councilor LeBlanc and I had earlier today. It would be great if we could see what the numbers are to do quarterly Muni code updates as we look at this year's budget. It's just something we've been talking about for a while. And I think that the more we can make sure that when we make changes in votes, we can do it expeditiously and not have to wait until an annual basis, means that our data that is on the website that our taxpayers are looking at is updated. So I just want to just throw that out as something to look at as a possibility. And the second thing I wanted to just mention is any counselors or members of the public that wish to join our Quarry Forum, Lanesville Quarries and Trails Forum on Thursday from 4:30 to 6 are welcome to join us. It's listed on the calendar section of the city website. And I just wanted a shout out to the mayor and Nicole Keyser and Chris Sucaranza, who have helped me organize this. And I really appreciate it, as do the residents of Gloucester and Lanesville, both. So thank you so much. Shout outs.
Thank you, Val. Maybe you want to put that link up on your social media page too, for your Ward 4 page. Maybe we can share it. Might be easier to, everybody's on social media nowadays, rather than going to the city website, trying to find the link. Maybe you share it that way, we can get it out there a little bit better.
Great. I did
Okay.
put it up, but I'll do it again. So
Okay, perfect.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so I am going to schedule a governance meeting over the next couple of weeks, so we can all get together and try to hammer a few things out. And we will discuss the quarterly, getting the Muni code back up there. We'll get one of the administration in there to maybe speak on that too, what we need to do. So I don't have any requests to the mayor. If there's, Councilor Pat.
Yes, Mr. President, I just wanted to sort of echo what Councilor Nolan has said and ask everyone for your, thoughts and prayers to be with Representative Ferrante in her health battle. And I know she's got her staff still working for the constituents here on Cape Ann, but I think we all need to add our prayers for a quick, recovery.
I agree. So best wishes and a speedy recovery to our state rep, Ann Margaret Ferrante. If she needs anything from any one of us, I'm sure she can reach out, and we'll be willing to jump in with both feet Counselor Gilman, do you have something before we adjourn?
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing. So it turns out that the paddle boarder that had that horrible accident is actually a good friend of my son's and a friend of our family's. And today I paid a visit to him at his house. He's out of the hospital. He's recovering beautifully. Walking around the house, it's just amazing. And, you know, he wished that his last name not be mentioned, so I want to be consistent with that. But he was so grateful to the care that he got from the first responder, which was a police officer who was there and really helped with the tourniquet. And it was just a horrible, horrible accident. And it's amazing that he lived through it. So I just wanted to say thank you to the mayor, the police department, first responders, fire department, the EMTs, for just an amazing job with this friend of ours. So he'll be on the beach with us this summer because of all of your hard work. So thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. That is awesome. I did speak with Counselor O'Hara last week. We are going to recognize the first responders, the fire and police, at a future city council meeting, hopefully within the next few weeks. I did reach out to Chief Smith and ask for his permission because I know that, you know, this was above and beyond of what they normally do. I wanted to make sure that it was okay that we're going to recognize these people because, I mean, these first responders are heroes, regardless of whether they're running into a burning building, you know, helping on a car accident. But, you know, what he stated was that this was extraordinary what these first responders stepped up to the plate and really did to help save this man's life. And then I reached out to the mayor's office. So the mayor and the city council will be recognizing these first responders within the next few weeks, bring them up to council, award them a citation virtually, and just get them out there. And we should invite the gentleman that was injured, so he can be here to give his thanks in person also. So we will be doing that very soon. All right. With that being said, is there anything else before we leave? All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
moved.
All right. It's been
Who
moved.
seconded before the movement?
It's been moved by everyone and seconded by everyone. So
Yay!
great meeting, everyone. So I will call for the roll call. Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilor Pat.
Yes.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Councilor Holmgren.
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc. Yes. Councilor Menhard.
Yes. Good night.
And Councilor Nolan.
Yes, good night, everybody.
All right, motion to adjourn passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 absent. All right, good night, everyone. Thank you for
Good night.
attending.
Thank you.